Hey and welcome back to my channel for another episode of Back to Basics. This is episode 3. If you have missed skincare and foundation, I will leave the links in the description box down below. If you're new to my channel, I suffered from acne for over 10 years, so as a result of that I started my YouTube channel to share my beauty tips and tricks, all things makeup and lifestyle and travel and all that jazz. So if that sounds like your cup of tea, why not hit subscribe? I would love to have you along on my journey. And why not give me a follow on Instagram? I'll leave it here. I post outfit of the days there and product reviews, things that you probably won't see on YouTube. So why not head over there and give me a little follow too? I'd really appreciate it. Right, okay, so colour correcting. This was a big craze a couple of years ago. People were buying the palettes and there was quite a lot of different things out there. People saying to use different colours for what, and that's what one thing I will say is a little disclaimer. Makeup is there to interpret and it's to play with. You know, it comes off at the end of the day. So if you find that using, just for example, a purple underneath your eye works for you at covering your eye bags, you do you. It's there to interpret. If you want to wear lipstick on your eyes, you know, you do you. So colour correcting. This is to balance out the colour that you don't want to see on your face. So for example, if you've got discoloration or acne, you'll do this before your foundation. And the trick to remember is the aim of the game by colour correcting is not to completely vanish. So it's not to completely vanish your acne. It's just to help balance it out. This is, I was terrible at this when I was growing up with my acne because every layer I just wanted it to cover it up and then I just balanced more layers on. But it doesn't quite work like that. Sometimes less is more. You've got to remember that when you are putting that concealer or the colour corrector on, there's going to be another layer of foundation on top. Or for example, when you're doing your foundation, if you can still see bits you don't want to see, imperfections you don't want to see, you can just put a concealer on. So to try and help not cake up, I hate that phrase, but you know what I mean. Just remember that this is just one step. Okay, so what colours do what? Green is for acne. Green balances out redness. Peach neutralises dark tone, so you could use this underneath the eyes to brighten up underneath the eyes. Yellow helps with purple undertone, so again, if you get purpley under eyes, that's why people use yellow underneath the eyes. So if you're unsure about what colour you should be using to colour correct, you can just Google a colour wheel and that will tell you, but the main rule of thumb is green for redness, peach for darkness, and yellow for purple. So I'm going to go in with a green. So if you've got acne or you've got a few spots, a green concealer is going to help calm the redness down. My advice would be, if you are using a green concealer, because it's going onto a spot, just take a little bit on the back of your hand. Now something to note is that I often find the green ones that I've used can lighten my foundation, so just bear that in mind. So I'm just going to take this on the areas I need it with my finger. So you could use your finger to blend it in, you could use a concealer brush, or you could use a beauty sponge. I always want to call them a beauty blender, but I'm aware that that's the brand. You're just going to blend it ever so slightly. You don't want to move it too far out. I'm spreading this here because there's a bit more redness. You want to keep it in the place where you've put it. So as you can see already, this has started to calm the redness down. Yes, I've still got a lot of blending to do, but you can see it's just helping to calm that redness down. So for the sake of this video, I'm going to take a yellow concealer now and I'm going to just put a tiny bit underneath the eyes to brighten it up. Now you can look at the colour, what colour's in your eye bags. Sounds such an unflattering word, doesn't it? Eye bags. But identify whether you need a peachy tone or a purpley tone or a yellow tone. I'm going with yellow because I personally prefer that because it helps brighten, but I do also like a peach, but I can't find my peach, which just defeats the object, doesn't it? So I'm just taking a tiny bit. Use my viewfinder as a mirror. By the way, these are the collection Lasting Perfection ones, and they're really bloody good. I'm going to be taking my damp, this is actually a sculpting sponge by Techniques, This is just going to help brighten it up. If I wanted to conceal, you know, the really heavy night bags, then I would go in with a peach. But as you can see, that's helped brighten up those eyes. We've helped, you know, mask some of the redness. Let's go in with foundation. What I did want to say is, if you're colour corrected underneath, stipple the areas, because if you, I mean, still buff it in, but around those areas where you really want to keep that product, where you've colour corrected, just stipple that brush, stipple the foundation, because then it's going to help not to move it too much. So if you're buffing it, you're going to move that product away, whereas if you're stippling it, you're just going to keep that product in that area. So that's just a helpful tip to bear in mind. Stipple those areas where you want to keep the product where you've already colour corrected. I think I just said that all twice. So a tip with concealer: if you're covering blemishes or imperfections on your skin, use the same colour or as close as you can to your skin tone or foundation you've used. For underneath the eyes, I like to always take one shade, sometimes even 2 shades lighter than my foundation, because again, it just helps brighten up underneath there. So I'm going to be taking the Clinique Beyond Perfection concealer, and this is going to be my spot concealer because it's going to be the same colour as my foundation. Again, going to be taking my damp beauty sponge, and I like to use the tip of it, because if you're using the tip, you're using the tip, so you're using a very concentrated area to just keep that product where you've placed it. Whereas if you're using a large surface area, you know, you're going to be moving that product from where you want to keep it. So for example here, I want to keep this concealer around this spot, so I'm using the very tip of the sponge just to help blend that product out, but keep the product in that area to actually do the job at covering the spot. Pressing it. I'm not sweeping, because if you sweep, you're going to sweep it away. So just press. And using your beauty blender or beauty sponge, whatever you want to call it, damp, is going to help absorb any extra product, but also help with a flawless finish. As you can see, that's really helped cover them up. A lot of people like the Revolution Fast Base Concealer. This was quite mattifying, so if you like a mattifying finish, this would be really good for you. And it's really cheap. Really like the Clinique Beyond Perfecting Concealer. They're really good. Really like the Maybelline Fit Me concealers, but I really find that the colours aren't that great. There's only a few colours. I mean, they've probably brought out now. I stopped buying it because they changed the colour shade and I was like, what is going on here? So, but I used to really like that for medium coverage. I've always used the Collection Lasting Perfection. I used to use this when it was Collection 2000. Once I first got acne, I started using the Collection, so ride or die. If you've been watching my videos for a while, follow me on Instagram, you know I barely stray away. And I used to hate the Maybelline Instant Eye Eraser because, oh no, this is terrible. It's not covering my eye bags up one bit. Now I love it. I think I like it because I prefer more of a natural finish now. I know I've still got a lot of foundation on, but I don't know, I just like it. So usually I would go in now to brighten up underneath the eyes with the Collection Lasting Perfection shade in Fair, because it's a little bit lighter and it's just going to help brighten underneath the eyes. But I'm actually going to go underneath with the Instant Eye Eraser in the shade Light. So if you go into a triangle underneath the eyes, I'm sure you've seen loads of people do this, but it's actually going to help nice and shape the face and draw attention. You can also take a little bit on your forehead and on your chin just to brighten those areas. Again, I will cover this in my bronzing contour video, but that's just going to help brighten, help with the contouring of your face, because that's where the light naturally hits your face. Again, taking my damp sponge. This is a Real Technique sculpting sponge, if I haven't said that already. I keep calling it a beauty blender. Again, I'm just bouncing that sponge, not wiping. If you wanted a less of a coverage, then swipe, but I'm going to keep that product where I've put it. At this point, if you were still suffering from eye bags before you put this concealer on, you could go in with a peachy tone and that would help brighten the eyes and cancel out any darkness. Backwards and forth both ways underneath the eyes, because I feel like that confuses the concealer and it stops it from creasing so much. I don't know, I know that sounds crazy, but it's just the way I like to do it. Then I'll often take that sponge and just bounce it around my face to make sure everything is blended in. And there we go, this is a really simple, easy way to colour correct and conceal. You don't need to overcomplicate things. You don't need to draw crazy patterns on your face with all different colours and blend them in a certain way and drip things down your face. To do that, just use the basic colour wheel, stay basic, then you don't overcomplicate things and you get brilliant results because you're not overcomplicating things and things are mingling and all of that. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this. If you have enjoyed it and you have watched it, please give me a thumbs up. I really appreciate it. It means the world to me. And you know, it's free, doesn't cost you anything. So just by you giving it a little thumbs up makes my day. You've made someone happy for free. Win-win, chicken dinner. If you've got any questions or I've not answered something, just leave me a comment. I'll answer them. Leave me a comment if you've enjoyed it too. That would really make my day too. Subscribe if you haven't already. There's a playlist with the previous 2 videos, Back to Basics Skincare, Back to Basics Foundation stroke brushes. Next week's will all be about contouring and bronzering, blusher, highlight. So make sure you subscribe so you don't miss that. And I'll see you in next week's video. Leave everything you need to down in the description box down below. Products, social media, email, previous videos, blogs. Yeah, cool. Right, well I hope you have a good day or night wherever you are. And I'll see you in my next video. Take care guys.